This is Davini's Library of Audiobooks, and in this video I will be reading Farnham Street Blog's Mental Models, the Best Way to Make Intelligent Decisions, 100 Models Explained, at fs.blog. What are mental models? A mental model is a compression of how something works. Any idea, belief, or concept can be distilled down. Like a map, mental models reveal key information while ignoring irrelevant details. Models concentrate the world into understandable and useful chunks. Mental models help us understand the world. For example, velocity is a mental model that helps you understand that both speed and direction matter. Reciprocity is a mental model that helps you understand how going positive and going first gets the world to do most of the work for you. Margin of safety is a mental model that helps you understand that things don't always go as planned. Relativity is a mental model that shows us we have blind spots and how a different perspective can reveal new information. The list goes on. Eliminating blind spots. In life and business, the person with the fewest blind spots wins. The source of all poor choices is blind spots. Think about it. If you had perfect information, you would always make the best decision. You'd play your hand perfectly in a poker game where you could see everyone's cards. You wouldn't make any mistakes. How do we eliminate blind spots? The best way to reduce our blind spots is to change our perspective. Just as knowing where to stand can turn a good photo into a great one, changing your perspective on a situation reveals critical information and offers new solutions. Think of each model as a lens through which you can see the world. Each lens offers a different perspective, revealing new information. Looking through one lens lets you see one thing, and looking through another reveals something different. Looking through them both reveals more than each one individually. While there are a lot of specific mental models, only a handful of general ones come from the big disciplines. Understanding them positions you to make fewer errors, see things others miss, and take better actions. Let's take a look at the best general models. You've got to have the models in your head, and you've got to array you experience, both vicarious and direct, onto this latticework of mental models. Charlie Munger. The latticework of mental models. Worldly wisdom is not simply memorizing things and repeating them back. The people that do that fail at work and fail in life. Wisdom is knowing the consequences of your actions, which comes from the alignment between facts and reasoning. The world is not divided into distinct disciplines. For example, business professors won't discuss physics in their lectures, but they should. Velocity teaches us that speed and direction matter. Kinetic energy teaches us that velocity matters more than mass when creating a force. Understanding these insights helps you outperform. In the real world, everything is connected like a latticework. Just because our teachers didn't show us how to use the big ideas from all the disciplines in life and business doesn't mean we can't learn them ourselves. That's why we created the Great Mental Models Project. So at fs.blog, the Great Mental Models Project is a summary of their mental models, which they have on Amazon and other bookstores. Here are the big ideas that can help you make better decisions, avoid problems, and spot opportunities others miss. Core thinking concepts: physics and chemistry, biology, systems, numeracy, microeconomics, military and war, human nature, and judgment. In this video, I'm going to just read off these core mental models. 1. The map is not the territory. The map of reality is not reality. Even the best maps are imperfect. That's because they are reductions of what they represent. If a map were to represent the territory with perfect fidelity, it would no longer be a reduction, and thus would no longer be useful to us. A map can also be a snapshot of a point in time, representing something that no longer exists. This is important to keep in mind as we think through problems and make better decisions. 2. Circle of competence. When ego and not competence drive what we undertake, we have massive blind spots. If you know what you understand, you know where you have an edge over others. When you are honest about where your knowledge is lacking, you know where you are vulnerable and where you can improve. Understanding your circle of competence improves decision-making and outcomes. 3. First principles thinking. First principles thinking is one of the best ways to reverse engineer complicated situations and unleash creative possibility. Sometimes called reasoning from first principles, it is a tool to help clarify complicated problems by separating the underlying ideas or facts from any assumptions based on them. What remains are the essentials. If you know the first principles of something, you can build the rest of your knowledge around them to produce something new. 4. Thought experiment. Thought experiments can be defined as devices of the imagination used to investigate the nature of things. Many disciplines, such as philosophy and physics, make use of thought experiments to examine what can be known. In doing so, they can open up new avenues for inquiry and exploration. Thought experiments are powerful because they help us learn from our mistakes and avoid future ones. They let us take on the impossible, evaluate the potential consequences of our actions, and re-examine history to make better decisions. They can help us both figure out what we really want and the best way to get there. 5. Second-order thinking. Almost everyone can anticipate the immediate results of their actions. This type of first-order thinking is easy and safe, but it's also a way to ensure you get the same results that everyone else gets. Second-order thinking is thinking farther ahead and thinking holistically. It requires us to consider not only our actions and their immediate consequences, but the subsequent effects of those actions as well. Failing to consider the second and third order effects can unleash disaster. 6. Probabilistic thinking. Probabilistic thinking is essentially trying to estimate, using some tools of math and logic, the likelihood of any specific outcome coming to pass. It is one of the best tools we have to improve the accuracy of our decisions. In a world where each moment is determined by an infinitely complex set of factors, probabilistic thinking helps us identify the most likely outcomes. When we know these, our decisions can be more precise and effective. 7. Inversion. Inversion is a powerful tool to improve your thinking because it helps you identify and remove obstacles to success. The root of inversion is invert, which means to upend or turn upside down. As a thinking tool, it means approaching a situation from the opposite end of the natural starting point. Most of us tend to think one way about a problem, forward. Inversion allows us to flip the problem around and think backward. Sometimes it's good to start at the beginning, but it can be more useful to start at the end. Occam's razor. Simpler explanations are more likely to be true than complicated ones. This is the essence of Occam's razor, a classic principle of logic and problem solving. Instead of wasting your time trying to disprove complex scenarios, you can make decisions more confidently by basing them on the explanation that has the fewest moving parts. 9. Hanlon's razor. Hard to trace in its origin, Hanlon's razor states that we should not attribute to malice that which is more easily explained by stupidity. In a complex world, using this model helps us avoid paranoia and ideology. By not generally assuming that bad results are the fault of a bad actor, we look for options instead of missing opportunities. This model reminds us that people do make mistakes. It demands that we ask if there is another reasonable explanation for the events that have occurred. The explanation most likely to be right is the one that contains the least amount of intent. That ends the intro for this series. Thank you.